some souls in this physical reality are going to exit this physical body and then get brought straight back into this human game again because they haven't understood the game. Atlantis was interconnected in a superior way through the whole Earth, through tunnels and networks. Forget about monkeys and all that BS. We didn't come from monkeys. These narratives are nuts. So I wanted to dive into this subject of cycles of time, cycles of reincarnation, the reason that we as a species like to attack and dominate and control. Now, when you dive into a subject like this, you can't just look at it from a perspective. You got to look at it from multiple perspectives because we're in a game and there are beings that created the game, beings that control the game. There are many different players within the game to make the game possible. Some of these beings know that they're players in the game. Some of these beings know that they're controllers of the game. And many beings are just existing in this field of reality, completely unaware that there's a game even taking place. When I was a kid, there used to be loads of snow in winter, where I grew up in the UK. In the summer, it used to be boiling hot. I remember in the winter time, one of my friends up the road, his dad was a builder and he used to have a JCB, and he'd get the JCB out and we'd all be on the back and he'd be, you know, getting big bits of snow and dumping them and clearing the roads. There was that much snow. In the summertime, it was boiling hot always. There was always leaves in the autumn. There was always flowers in the spring. There was always 4 seasons. Now in the UK, you very rarely get any snow in winter. It's a rarity. In summer, it's a rarity if you get any sun. You know, the seasons are all screwed up. These cycles, these seasons, everything is changing. As a species, we're scared of death. Most people are. But to truly live, you must accept death. Because death is just a transitionary period where you move from one body to another body, from one form to another form. Or maybe you move from form into no form and you exist in the formless for a little while, being frequency, code, mathematics, spirals of light, energy, until you decide to reincarnate somewhere else. Some souls in this physical reality are going to exit this physical body and then get brought straight back into this human game again because they haven't understood the game. And when you don't understand the game, you're just going to be cycled over and over for food, for energy. If you go back to Atlantis, Atlantis was an amazing space where the people, the beings there were living and thriving, and they truly understood this inner game, this inner mastery. They knew that to completely be free, they had to take a deep dive into their hearts, and they knew that the alchemy and the architecture was an inside job. And by working through the heart, through heart-based consciousness, by raising the vibrational levels, they could control everything in a positive way by being in harmony with nature. Atlantis, when most people tap into their past life incarnations in Atlantis, they tap into the trauma, which was at the end of Atlantis when everybody was trying to control and dominate the situation. Now, there are many different reasons for this. There were other beings that came to Earth that tried to control and dominate and mess up the gene codes of the species at that time, because the Atlanteans were becoming very powerful and they knew the divine architecture, not internally, not simply just internally as a species, but on an earthly level, on a planetary level. They understood the true Cathara grid tree of life structure, which were the 12 spheres, which out from the 12th comes the 13th, which is the wholeness. 13 is the magical number. It's the number of the divine goddess. Atlantis was interconnected in a superior way through the whole Earth. The islands above the Earth's surface, and it was all interconnected through tunnels and networks. Everything was connected to everything. This whole earthly experience, the Earth itself was created by the Cosmic Mother and the Cosmic Father dragons, which were and still are amazing architects and also teachers, amazing teachers on a huge planetary and galactic level. This planet was created to house this human game and to place a species into this architecture to see if we could find our way back home, to see if we could recode ourselves and regain access to the beautiful technology that we are and the planet is as a whole. The planet is a mother, the planet is feminine, and there is no better place to hold a game, especially the type of game that we're playing, on a planet that isn't female, because the mother can nurture all of the humans within this planetary structure. Other beings came to Atlantis to try and stop the beings in Atlantis truly understanding how to navigate interdimensionally and multidimensionally out from this planetary environment. Because once you understand the gateways, the portal networks, the Stargate structures, you can travel to other planets, to other galaxies, to other star systems, just like that. And the Tree of Life structure, the portal systems, the Stargate systems within our planetary, galactic and universal systems was starting to be understood by these beings in Atlantis. Now, you've also got to understand that there are cycles of time. If you look at the Hindu philosophy, they believe that the universe is asleep for a very long time, 4.2 billion years. Then it wakes up for 4.2 billion years and then explodes and goes back to sleep again. But within that one cycle, there are multiple other cycles where the universe wakes up and gets curious and splits itself. And then there's dark and light. And then the dark gets a little bit more expanded and starts to create war with the light, and then it expands and expands, and eventually the world blows up and goes back to sleep again for another 4.2 billion years. The Atlanteans knew this, and they knew they were coming to the end of a cycle. And the Atlanteans also wanted to preserve their wisdom and their technologies and pass it on to other races that would incarnate in the so-called future. They also knew that reincarnation was possible, so they could actually slip out in one body and slide into another body down the timeline, and they could choose their entry point on the timeline. Because remember, the past, the present and future is all now. So you might have a species here that completely phases out of reality and dies or disappears, and then 1 million years later there's another species. But within that 1 million years, there's multiple other species and incarnations. Now, they don't have to just come in 50 years later or 100 years later. They could come in 1 million years later when the technology's really advanced again. And for that whole 1 million year period, which is a blip in the vast ocean of time, they could go off and explore other planets, other stars. Because they have the technology, the understanding, how multidimensional travel works and how they can slide and slip in and out of dimensional fields. This was another thing that Thoth was talking about on the Emerald Tablets. But if you go back to the Emerald Tablets and you look at what Thoth was teaching on the Emerald Tablets, he was only teaching part of the equation. He was saying that you should rise out from the darkness and into the light. Now that's not right. If you get too close to the light, what happens? You get burnt. So it's not about going towards the light. We were all born from darkness. We were all created from the womb of the universe, which was dark, which was empty space, like the womb of the universe. Light was birthed from darkness. And it's very important to have dark and light, because without dark and light, you can't even play the game. And a lot of people think that there's dark and there's evil and there's badness. And on one hand, yes, there is. But if you don't have the darkness and the badness and the evilness, you can't actually play this human game. So out from the singularity comes duality. And out from duality comes the Trinity. The Divine Father, the Divine Mother, the Divine Child. the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. The Father is God. The Son are the creator sons and daughters, which we discussed in another video, which are going through this evolutionary process to become the best architects in the whole universe, so they can go out and create new super universes. This is us. This is what we're in training for. And then you've got the Holy Spirit, which is the feminine, the flow. Without the feminine and the flow, the creator sons and the creator daughters can't go out and build things out from the energy, from God, the universal intelligence, the code, the mathematics. So you've got this planetary environment that's been created for us to explore, for us to remember, for us to play the game, for us to unlock sacred wisdom, for us to pass the wisdom on, and for us to remember that we're superhumans. Because we came down here being blank slated, having no memory recall, so that we could rediscover who and what we are and were all over again. And when we discover who and what we are and what we were, we remember. We were the beings that incarnated on Atlantis. But we find it very difficult to tap back into the true beauty and all of the knowledge and the wisdom and the technology, the advanced technology that we were utilizing in Atlantis, because we only remember the trauma. The trauma is held in the DNA template. So we remember the wars and the pain at the end when people were battling in Atlantis. Remember, Atlantis didn't have a king and a queen and a ruler like we have in the UK, for example, or other countries have. Atlantis was multifaceted with multiple beings and races that all were very, very powerful, and they all did their own things. And when it came to the end and it was time for their cycle of time to come to a so-called end, or to move on to the next process or the next space in this evolutionary cycle, which was to depart from their physical bodies and move on, or remember how to travel through the Stargate systems and take their physical bodies with them. But that's why the negative beings came in and recoded the DNA and went to war with the Atlanteans to reconfigure the gene code so they couldn't do that. So you had that part of the game going on whilst the Atlanteans were battling with each other to decide who was going to pass on the wisdom and the knowledge, who was going to be remembered in the scriptures, who was going to be remembered in the technology. This pyramid technology that you see in Egypt came from Atlantis. These pyramids were healing devices. They were electrical, energetic computer systems that could transfer electrical energy all over the planet through the obelisks that surrounded the pyramids and beyond. Water played a massive role in this, but we're not going to get too deep into this today. But water played a massive role passing through and under the pyramids. All of that energy passing through the granite and the structures of the pyramids enabled energy to be created. And that energy was passed up through the pyramids, through the king's chamber, up into the golden capstones, which was then transported out through the obelisks and around the planet for everybody to use the electrical energy. But these pyramids had many other benefits and many other uses. They were powerful healing machines. This technology that's been passed on through the ages has been forgotten. And what's happening now is we're utilizing vibration, as we're utilizing frequency, we're utilizing code, energy. We're realizing that our bodies are musical instruments. Our own DNA template has hydrogen, carbon, phosphorus, nitrogen, and oxygen. And all of these elements, they are activated at a certain harmonic. For example, hydrogen and oxygen are E on the musical scale. Oxygen is F over F sharp, and nitrogen is G. These elements that can be activated by music prove that we are like musical instruments. And if you look at 432 hertz of the heart and Mother Earth herself, that resonant vibration. You know, all musical instruments used to be tuned to 432 hertz, but over recent years they've been changed to 440 hertz. Why is that? Because they know when we're resonating at 432 hertz, we become super powerful, super in love. And when we're super powerful and super in love, we are super present. And when we're super present, we are not being controlled by the ego, and we can make better choices. We can resonate with each other as a species, and we can unify. But when we're controlled and taken out from our heart center by music, which is the biggest weapon of mass destruction now, it's used to disharmonize us. We step outside of our electrical and magnetic balance with the stars and the earth. We become a shadow of our former selves. Back in Atlantis, their musical instruments were in full flow. Their bodies were amazing. And the beings that lived on Atlantis, that were really in tune with all of this ancient technology, utilized it for their advancement and the betterment of the species that was alive at that time. Here on planet Earth, we're starting to remember this stuff. We're starting to go beyond the traumas that we remember from Atlantis and into the deeper wisdom and the deeper knowledge. All of this information is encoded in our DNA. Our DNA is like computer code. Around 35 million hours of high definition video can be stored on your DNA. Around 35,000 terabytes of data. You know, our DNA can store so much information. We are electrical beings. We are beings that operate through frequency. If you go back to the fall of Atlantis, there's all of that trauma encoded in our template. If you go back further to Tara, 560 plus million years ago, when all the crystalline grids blew up, again, another war. There was an Atlantis there was an Egypt there was an ancient Greece there. Here on planet Earth, we're playing the same game that was played on Tara. We fucked it up then, and we're potentially in the process of fucking it up now. But we're at a real critical point where so many people are waking up and remembering the truth, and consciousness is expanding. And we can catalyze a massive radical transformation. And instead of going down that same old road and playing out that same old cyclical process where we blow planet Earth up, maybe we can recode planet Earth to her original mathematics. Maybe we can recode our own original template to our own Taran angelic human mathematics when we were massive. When our pineal glands were much bigger, when we could travel interdimensionally and multidimensionally in our Merkaba fields, where we could take our physical bodies through Stargates to other planets and other star systems, just like that. When we were powerful beyond measure. We have the opportunity to do that right now, but we have to unify as a species. There's still too much separation. We have to re-engineer our mathematics. We have to re-engineer our gene code and activate that 12-strand template, which isn't really 12 strands, it's 13. This number 13 is encoded everywhere. Look at the Great Pyramid. The footprint of the Great Pyramid is 13 acres. It's 481 feet tall. 8 plus 4 plus 1 is 13. This number 13 is absolutely everywhere. But we live in an inverted world, an inverted paradigm where everybody turns everything against us. Stay away from the number 13. Unlucky number 13. Friday the 13th. Well, actually, 13 is one of the most powerful numbers in the universe. We don't have 12 constellations in our zodiac. We have 13. The 13th is Ophiuchus, which is the snake bearer, which is also the great healer of the skies, which links to the human nervous system. We have to remember the power in numbers. We have to remember the power in the sacred mathematics. And we have to re-engineer ourselves to be the superhumans that we came to planet Earth to be. We don't need to leave our physical bodies behind this time. We can take our physical bodies with us wherever we want to travel to. But we got a lot of work to do, and we've got to start moving quickly. We got to come together, and we've got to unify as a human species, share this sacred knowledge, use frequency, use light, use mathematics to re-engineer our divine human blueprint. We have to remember the sacred tree of life. We have to remember the true flower of life, the true flower of life. Not the false Metatronic architecture and the false encoded flower of life that rotates out from the source point out of false mathematical spin. We have to remember the true crystalline mathematics that are connected to the 0 point, not the false Fibonacci architecture. We have to remember the real true flower of life, which is built through our whole planetary architecture and through our human body. And when we do that, and we realize that every single organ is plugged into a Stargate, every single piece of our spinal column, Jacob's ladder, is plugged into a Stargate, we will be able to download the correct frequencies in the correct mathematical order, run the right sequences, and remember who we truly are, why we truly came here, and what we're truly capable of. You see, if you look at the beings like the divine cosmic mother dragon, the divine cosmic father dragon, they look at planets like ping pong balls. They can take a planet like Earth and spin it on one of their talons. It's a game, okay? They can take a whole galaxy, they can take a whole solar system, they can take a whole universal structure with trillions of planets and rearrange them like they're playing with pieces of wood or little shapes and symbols on a board. These beings are massive and they know how to use the quantum field correctly. They can amplify and shrink down, they can grow, magnetize, they can dematerialize and rematerialize. They can change anything in the quantum field and ensure that it has a physical verifiable effect in the physical immediately. Imagine you've got dragons sat around a boardroom table that's the size of 1 trillion planets. And on that dining room table or that board, there are trillions of other planets just placed. And they're moving them around, just flicking them, moving them here and there. They can get energy, and out from that energy, out from that primal substance, they can mold a world like Earth. They can make a few changes, recode it, put a planetary nervous system, a bunch of ley lines, crystalline grid systems, place the Stargates in, and boom, you've got a beautiful planet called Earth. They can run a load of crystalline frequencies through it, they can create crystal structures, they can place gold, they can place rose gold, silver, platinum, different metals and minerals into the planet. They can do this in seconds. That they can get that planet and place it into empty space and spin it at a certain rate. They can change its magnetics, its electrical frequency, and give it a name like Earth. And then they can get a load of other beings and just place them onto this planet to play the game. This is the level that's taking place way beyond we're at. But it's us in another reality that constructed and created this, to give us the opportunity to come down onto this Earth and experience this part of reality, because we wrote this game. Don't get annoyed that there are other beings in this planetary environment that are trying to harm you and hurt you, that are trying to lower your vibration. If they weren't there to test you, how would you get stronger? How would you get wiser? How would you get better? And it wouldn't be any fun if it was nice and easy. There are so many layers and levels to this whole architectural structure, and it's mind-boggling. But if we're gonna come together and get ourselves out of this game that we created to put ourselves in the first place, we have to take a deep dive into our hearts. And we've got to be brave enough to keep journeying and traveling. We've got to be brave enough to step out of our comfort zones and go into the unknown. We've got to lean into the process when everyone else is telling us to go the other way. We've got to share this information when the narrative tells you that you're crazy for sharing it. You've got to have a big pair of cojones, and you've got to say, fuck it. And you've got to go for it. And you've got to realize that we are sisters and brothers on this planet. And dark and light is part of the process. And if we're going to become powerful, we've got to alchemize the two. You can't play in the darkness and you can't play in the light. You got to play in both paradigms and merge them as one. That's where you exercise your true mastery, your true alchemy. That's when you become a quantum architect. And you remember that you are the divine cosmic mother dragon and the divine cosmic father dragon rolled into one. and all of the grandfather and grandmother dragons beyond that. There's nothing that you can't access. You are everything and nothing. You are a perfectly, divinely encoded template of beauty and magic. And these human vessels give us the opportunity to experience all of that multidimensionality in these physical avatars. We've just forgotten how to truly switch on this amazing biological computer. There are signposts everywhere, but you've got to be still enough to see them, feel them, and hear them. And as you start to uncover and unlock this information, you've got to be brave enough to take action on it. Not just move past it and move on and just hope that someone else will deal with it for you. That someone else on this planet will have the courage and the strength to take this information and do something with it. And you can just sit back and observe. That's not where it's at. No way, Jose. We've all got to take on board this wisdom and remember that we came here as one organism. We rise together, we fall together. As we move out from these physical bodies, it happens as one. And as we move into other forms, it happens as one. There really is no separation in these physical bodies and beyond these physical bodies. It really is an illusion. And when you do the inner work for you, you do it for everyone else. And when everyone else does it for other people and themselves, they do it for other people and themselves. It's a massive team effort. God is in you, God is in me. We are all divine sparks of raw potential, just trying to figure it out. And the more we share, the faster it's gonna happen. Atlantis was a large underground global network and a network above ground. But all of that technology, all of that planetary architecture was here before Atlantis. This planet is millions and millions of years old, and there have been beings that have incarnated on this planet way before Atlantis. Humans are ancient. Ancient. Forget about monkeys and all that BS. We didn't come from monkeys. These narratives are nuts. Go into your heart and feel this information. Don't believe a single word that's coming out of my mouth. The truth is in every cell in your body, but you've got to be still enough to hear it, still enough to see it, still enough to feel it. Be precise, be present. It's the best gift you can give yourself. Connect to the stars, connect to the earth, connect to the electrical and the magnetics. Live in your heart space. Exercise your body, move it, intermittent fasting. Put good foods into your body, plenty of water. Breathe deeply, meditate. Qigong. Utilize all of these tools that are at your disposal, that your soul truly understands. And recode yourself, re-engineer yourself, and love yourself through the process. Wherever you are on this planet, go out into the world and love your sisters and your brothers, fiercely and ferociously. Hug them tightly and never, ever be the first to let go. That is the golden rule of hugging. And remember, beautiful soul, to check out our website, starmagichealing.org. We got some of the best ascension tools on the planet. We train people how to facilitate the healing of other human beings using a very specific light-encoded technology. It's the fastest growing healing modality on planet Earth. It's the fastest and most efficient. And remember to check out our ascension tools inside Infinity. We got hundreds of meditations, light language transmissions, light codes. We got cosmic yoga videos, breath work, high frequency nutrition. We've got mystery school teachings for days and months and years. We've got private Telegram groups so you can connect with beautiful souls just like you, who are on the same vibration, the same soul mission, who want to make this world a better place, so we can live and share the planet's resources equally between all men, women, and children, so we can live and thrive on this beautiful earth. Join your soul family. Connect with us at starmagichealing.org, and I'll see you again real soon. Remember, love yourself, love others, be kind, and don't give a fuck. This planet is amazing. Make up the rules of your own game. Play life by your own rules and have fun. Have fun during the process. I'll see you again real soon. One love, one heart, one human family. Peace out, beautiful soul.